Wow. Good to see you, Adrian.
How's it going?
Good.
Pura vida. We're
Pura
back
vida,
here in
pura vida.
Tamarindo, Costa Rica.
Yes, we are back at Agape, Costa Rica. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about reincarnation. And the reason is because it ties this beautiful story together. If you didn't check out the last couple of videos we did one on Animal Crossings and proof of heaven based on some personal experience I had. So check that out if you haven't checked it out already. Today, you know, a lot of people are curious about reincarnation. And I wanted to talk about it because the funny thing about knowledge is that when you know something, you think, well, everybody knows that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, yeah, like, why do we even need to discuss it? Everybody knows that, right? Turns out they don't.
It's not the case anymore.
I thought everybody knew and believed in reincarnation deep down in their soul, but that's not the case. A lot of people are on the fence about it. A lot of people think it's hogwash. So I thought I would share some personal stories as well as turn people on to what is actually happening in the world of research about it. So I was recently in Europe studying at Arthur Findlay College, which is the original Hogwarts, literally. It's
oh,
like
wow.
It's like the real deal. And it's called Arthur Findlay College. And it's founded by the spiritualists, and they believe fully in life after death, and they study psychic research, blah, blah, blah. And I was taking a class there, and I mentioned reincarnation and the University of Virginia, and everybody's like, what's that? What's that? I'm like, I thought everybody knew! So I want to tell you how I came about understanding reincarnation, and then you can find out, okay?
Okay.
So what happened is that I came into this incarnation as Sally with a memory of my past life, okay? So it was just very familiar to me. Like a memory of your childhood, I had a memory of what I was before. And I just naturally assumed everybody else had that, okay? And my most recent memory was of an experience in Peru, okay? And after I tell you a little bit about the research on reincarnation, I want to share like my Peru thing. Once I became a professional psychic medium, and got into the position of being able to teach people, because obviously in my sessions I can't help myself. I want to share what I know. So it's hard to talk about reincarnation just abstractly, because people, how can you prove it? Like, yeah, well, prove it to me. So, and coming from a family too, my father was an architect and an engineer, and my mother was an educator, a teacher, and no one in my family believed in this. Like, absolutely, it was not, like, you don't talk about it. So I grew up in a family of skeptics, but also academics. And so if you want to talk to me about reincarnation, you better produce the evidence. So what I did about 5 years ago is I dove in 100% in research and study with everything I could get my hands on, studying the facts about reincarnation and how can we prove it. And I came across the University of Virginia. Now, for about the last 48 years, a man who's no longer not doing it anymore, but 45 years ago, the University of Virginia, under the direction of Ian Stevenson, started a department of research in the Department of Psychology, taking case studies all over the world of people who claim to have had past life experiences. And they began, Ian Stevenson in particular, began doing massive research on the subject, and consequently, through the University of Virginia, we have thousands of cases that have been verified in all the scientific ways to prove that there is indeed reincarnation. So in combing through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and books and documentaries on reincarnation, I came up with my top 5. And if you go to my website, sallyricepsychic.com or agapecostarica.com, and just type in the header children who have lived before, it'll bring up an article and a list of 5 of my top favorite documentaries that are mostly generated by the University of Virginia that provide proof, okay? And I mean proof, all right, in the scientific way. Proof of reincarnation. And I want to share one tiny story with you about that research, okay? There was, in around 2002, 2004, a little boy, 2 years old, whose name is James, who was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, to some devout Christian parents. I think they were Baptist, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but let's just put it this way. Very conservative Christian parents. Of course, did not believe in reincarnation at all. When the little boy James was 2 years old, he started talking, and he could speak. He started talking incessantly about airplanes, okay? And he talked about the names of airplanes. He identified them by their craft and technical terms, and the parents were like, well, how did this boy ever learn this? Because we certainly didn't introduce him to anything about airplanes. He also experienced nightmares when he was asleep, obviously. And he would be on his back, and he'd be screaming out in the middle, flailing his arms and legs, and screaming that he was dying in a plane crash in a fire, okay? Well, long story short, because I could talk to you about this like for hours, but James later identified a ship that he was on, the name of the aircraft that he died in, the name of his best friend, and his name that he had when he was in his past life, where he died as a naval pilot in World War II, and his name was James Huston Jr. in his past life. Came into his new reincarnation, and you know we name ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And he also named himself James again. So what Ian Stevenson, what they did through the research department from the University of Virginia is they went and checked it out. They checked out the ship, they checked out the name of the pilot, they found that all of this documentation was accurate, but there it gets more exciting because James, the little boy who's now like 5, okay, now they've verified all the information. Yes, there was this pilot that went down. Yes, the name of the ship was correct. Yes, he did exist. Yes, his best friend was Jack. They found him in pictures, blah, blah, blah. But the pilot that went down, who was reincarnated as little James, had a family that was still alive.
Oh, wow.
So they go and they meet the family. The little boy, who's 5 years old, sees the sister, who's now like 85, right?
Yeah.
And calls her by name, identifies the things in the house, and starts to ask his sister about a painting that was done by their mother when they were little children together that nobody in the whole world could have known. Anyway, it was all verified. Now, needless to say, the parents, devout Christians, are fully aware and believing now in the reincarnation. But the point is that this is just one case, okay? This is one. There are thousands, okay? So I highly recommend that you just take a moment, go to Agape Costa Rica, check on children who have lived before. Start at the top of the list. There are 5. There are 5 videos that include lectures and documentaries of what I believe are the best research projects that prove that there's reincarnation.